In the small town of Brookfield, Texas, whispers of scandal and betrayal were about to erupt into a full-blown storm. At the center of it all was Ronald Harper, an oil tycoon whose wealth was as massive as the state itself. Despite his success, Ronald struggled with personal insecurities that trace back to his childhood, desperately trying to meet the high expectations set by his father. Married to the beautiful and charismatic Evelyn, Ronald seemed to have it all. But beneath the surface, their marriage was crumbling. Evelyn, once charmed by Ronald's wealth and the promise of a secure future, found herself trapped in a loveless marriage. She came from a modest background and had always vowed never to end up like her parents, who were constantly stressed about money. As Ronald poured his energy into his business, he became emotionally distant, leaving Evelyn feeling more alone than ever. Their marriage, once a loving partnership, had turned into nothing more than a facade they maintained for the public eye. The stage was perfectly set for trouble, and soon Evelyn found herself seeking solace outside their marriage. This was the spark that lit the fuse in Brookfield, leading to a chain of events that would captivate and shock the entire town. What happened next would unravel secrets that many thought were buried deep beneath the surface of this seemingly peaceful community. As the emotional distance between Ronald and Evelyn widened, Evelyn found herself drawn to someone who offered what Ronald no longer could. Pastor Thomas Bradford of the First Light Baptist Church became the person she turned to. Unlike Ronald, Thomas was charismatic and attentive. He had a knack for making people feel special and understood, a quality that Evelyn craved desperately. Their connection deepened quickly. For Evelyn, the affair started as an escape from the loneliness that enveloped her life. It was meant to be a brief respite, a fleeting moment of happiness in a sea of discontent. But as their meetings became more frequent, the stakes grew higher. Evelyn found herself caught in a web of deception, risking everything for moments stolen in the shadows of her failing marriage. Meanwhile, Ronald's suspicions began to grow. He noticed subtle changes in Evelyn's behavior, the mysterious absences, and her guardedness around her phone. These signs, coupled with his inherent distrust of Thomas, whom he viewed as overly slick and intrusive, led him to keep a closer eye on his wife. The threads of trust were unraveling quickly, and Ronald was about to uncover the truth that would shake the foundations of their lives. This discovery set the stage for a confrontation that would expose not just the affair, but the fragility of the lives they had built. As the scandal burst into the open, it threatened to destroy more than just a marriage, engulfing the entire community of Brookfield in its wake. Ronald's meticulous planning led to a dramatic confrontation at the First Light Baptist Church during a highly anticipated baptism event. The community gathered, oblivious to the undercurrents of tension brewing beneath the surface. As families celebrated faith and togetherness, Ronald prepared to reveal the devastating truth of Evelyn's infidelity in a public spectacle designed to reclaim his control and pride. On that fateful day, as the choir sang and the congregation reveled in spiritual joy, Ronald made his move. With the entire town as his audience, he presented undeniable proof of Evelyn and Thomas's affair, a series of intimate photographs that left no room for doubt. The impact was immediate and shocking. Friends and neighbors gasped, unable to reconcile the image of the devoted churchgoer and the wife of a respected businessman with the reality of the scandalous pictures spread before them. Evelyn's and Thomas's worlds collapsed in real time. Evelyn, caught off guard and humiliated, struggled to contain the fallout, her facade of composure shattering under the weight of public scrutiny. Thomas, equally stunned, found his reputation and moral authority questioned, his charisma unable to shield him from the backlash. This exposure did more than just strain marital and personal relationships. It sent ripples through the entire Brookfield community, challenging the town's perception of truth and morality. As the service turned into chaos, the impact of Ronald's revelations extended far beyond the walls of the church, setting off a series of events that would change the lives of all involved forever. In the aftermath of the public scandal, the once tight-knit community of Brookfield found itself divided. The fallout was swift and merciless for Evelyn. Shunned by those she once considered friends, and ostracized by a community that valued discretion and propriety above all, Evelyn faced the harsh realities of her choices. Her social standing, once unassailable, crumbled as quickly as the facade of her perfect marriage. Ronald, on the other hand, initiated divorce proceedings, determined to sever all ties with Evelyn and protect his financial interests. The trust and partnership that had once defined their marriage were now replaced by legal battles and public disgrace. Meanwhile, Thomas struggled to regain his footing. His role as a spiritual leader was irreparably tarnished. His sermons about integrity and faith now met with skepticism and whispers. The ripple effects of the scandal reached beyond personal relationships, impacting the community's trust in its leaders. As Brookfield grappled with the revelations, the church's attendance dwindled, and the Harpers' social circle tightened, turning inward to avoid the stain of scandal. The town was left to wrestle with the broader implications of the affair, questioning the values they held dear and the leaders they had trusted. As the dust began to settle on the public revelations, a darker twist emerged when Ronald Harper was found dead in his study. His life abruptly ended in what appeared to be a crime of passion. The discovery of Ronald's body sent shockwaves through Brookfield, reigniting the scandal with renewed intensity. The local sheriff, a close confidant of Ronald, led the investigation, immediately focusing on the bitter estrangement between Ronald and Evelyn as a possible motive. The murder investigation quickly centered on Evelyn as the prime suspect. Her recent public humiliation and the messy divorce proceedings painted a picture of a woman potentially driven to extreme measures. The crime scene was meticulously analyzed, revealing no signs of forced entry, suggesting the perpetrator was someone Ronald knew well, likely someone who had intimate access to his home. As detectives delved deeper, they uncovered small but telling inconsistencies in Evelyn's alibi for the night of the murder. Her desperation and isolation in the weeks following the scandal only added to the suspicion. With each piece of evidence, the narrative of a scorned wife seeking revenge began to take shape, compelling the authorities to scrutinize her movements and motives more closely. This turn of events placed Evelyn at the heart of a criminal investigation, her past actions and recent disgrace weaving a complex tapestry that suggested possible guilt. The community, already reeling from the initial scandal, found themselves engrossed in a murder mystery that threatened to expose even more secrets beneath the surface of their quiet town. The investigation into Ronald Harper's murder intensified as forensic experts analyzed evidence from the crime scene. A breakthrough came when detectives discovered Evelyn's fingerprints on a decorative oil drill model, the suspected murder weapon. This damning piece of evidence, coupled with traces of blood found on a scarf Evelyn was known to wear, significantly bolstered the case against her. As the pieces of the puzzle fell into place, Evelyn was brought in for intense questioning. She vehemently denied any involvement in the murder, arguing that her presence at the scene was coincidental and pointing to her husband's numerous business rivals who might have had a motive to harm him. Despite her assertions, the lack of credible alternatives to her involvement and the mounting forensic evidence made her defense increasingly untenable. Meanwhile, the community's perception of Evelyn shifted from one of pity and scorn to suspicion and fear. The woman who had once been a pillar of the social scene was now a pariah, isolated by her alleged actions and the overwhelming public backlash. As detectives continued to build their case, the narrative of a desperate, perhaps vengeful woman seemed to resonate with those following the unfolding drama. The legal proceedings loomed, promising to not only decide Evelyn's fate, but also to forever alter the fabric of Brookfield as it grappled with the implications of such a dramatic fall from grace within its ranks. As the trial approached, the atmosphere in Brookfield was charged with anticipation. The courtroom became the stage for a drama that captivated the entire town, with Evelyn Harper at its center, facing charges of first-degree murder. The prosecution presented a compelling case, meticulously laying out the timeline of the events leading to Ronald's death and highlighting the evidence that pointed conclusively at Evelyn. Throughout the proceedings, the prosecution depicted Evelyn not just as a woman scorned, but as someone who meticulously planned her husband's murder. They argued that her actions were premeditated, driven by a mix of personal betrayal and a desperate desire to reclaim control over her life. The display of the murder weapon, the bloody scarf, and the incriminating fingerprints were pivotal, painting a picture of Evelyn as calculated and cold. The defense, on the other hand, attempted to cast doubt on the evidence presented. They suggested the possibility of other suspects, including business rivals and disgruntled associates of Ronald, who might have had motives for the murder. They painted Evelyn as a victim of circumstance, caught in a web of lies and betrayal, not of her making, but the strength of the forensic evidence was hard to counter. Throughout the trial, the community's gaze was fixed on Evelyn, interpreting her every expression and reaction. Her previous stature in the community, once defined by elegance and respect, now added a layer of tragedy to the proceedings, as people saw a familiar face brought low by spectacular misfortune. The trial, beyond its legal ramifications, was a mirror reflecting the community's own vulnerabilities and the consequences of hidden truths coming to light. The verdict was delivered swiftly. After less than 5 hours of deliberation, the jury found Evelyn Harper guilty of first-degree murder. The courtroom fell into a tense silence as the decision was read out loud, marking a definitive end to a saga that had gripped Brookfield for months. Evelyn remained stoic, her composure barely wavering as the reality of a life sentence without the possibility of parole was pronounced against her. In the moments following the verdict, the impact was palpable throughout the community. While some felt a sense of justice being served, others wrestled with feelings of empathy for Evelyn, whose downfall was both public and profound. The sentencing did not just conclude a trial, it closed a chapter on what many in Brookfield considered a cautionary tale about the perils of secrecy and the destruction it can wreak on lives and reputations. Following the trial, the town of Brookfield attempted to move forward, but the shadows of the scandal lingered. Conversations about the trial were frequent, as residents processed the unsettling details of the case and considered the broader implications for their own lives and relationships. The once vibrant social life that Evelyn had led was now a reminder of how quickly fortune can turn, and the community found itself more cautious, its trust harder to earn. Evelyn's conviction and subsequent imprisonment became a defining moment for Brookfield, a stark lesson in the consequences of actions driven by despair and deceit. As the town slowly healed and rebuilt its sense of community, the story of Evelyn Harper served as a somber narrative of fallibility and the human capacity for both error and judgment. In the aftermath of the trial, Evelyn Harper's life behind bars began, marking a stark transition from her previous world of luxury and influence. Meanwhile, the residents of Brookfield continued to grapple with the aftershocks of the trial. The scandal had not only reshaped their views on morality and justice, but also left a permanent mark on the town's social fabric. The story of Evelyn Harper became a topic of frequent discussion, a poignant example of how quickly one's life can change due to a few disastrous decisions. It also sparked conversations about personal responsibility and the hidden struggles that often lie beneath a facade of perfection. As these discussions unfolded, they served as cathartic sessions for the community, helping them to make sense of the events and to find closure. Local institutions, particularly the church, faced a period of introspection and renewal as they sought to restore their credibility. The church leadership took steps to address the spiritual and emotional needs of their congregation, focusing on themes of forgiveness and rebuilding trust. These efforts were crucial in helping the community to heal and to reaffirm their values in the wake of the scandal. As Brookfield moved forward, the legacy of the trial influenced new community initiatives aimed at fostering transparency and support among residents. The town slowly regained its equilibrium, learning from the past and cautiously optimistic about rebuilding a more resilient and understanding community. The case of Evelyn Harper remained a sobering reminder of the complexities of human behavior and the profound impact of our choices on our lives and those around us. As the years passed, the ripple effects of Evelyn Harper's trial continued to be felt in Brookfield. The community, having been through a period of reflection and healing, began to channel their experiences into positive change. New support groups and community outreach programs were established, aimed at providing support for those facing personal crises to prevent the kind of isolation and despair that had contributed to Evelyn's downfall. Educational initiatives focusing on ethical behavior and conflict resolution were introduced in local schools, fostering a generation more aware of the moral complexities of adult life. These programs taught students the importance of transparency and the consequences of deceit, drawing on the town's own history as a teaching tool. Meanwhile, the local governance took strides to improve transparency and accountability, learning from the past where secrets and unchecked power had led to tragedy. Public forums and town hall meetings became more frequent, encouraging residents to stay informed and engaged in community decisions. Brookfield's cultural and social events also saw a resurgence, with the community coming together to celebrate resilience and solidarity. Annual commemorations were established not only to remember the events that had shaken their town, but also to celebrate the strength and unity that emerged from those trials. Through these actions, Brookfield transformed its narrative from one of scandal and tragedy to one of recovery and moral fortitude. The town's journey from the shadows of the Harper scandal into a beacon of community engagement and ethical awareness served as a testament to the human capacity for growth and renewal. The story of Evelyn Harper, while a somber chapter in the town's history, ultimately catalyzed a movement towards a stronger, more interconnected community. Years later, the legacy of Evelyn Harper's case still echoes through Brookfield, serving as a profound reminder of the lasting impact of personal actions on a community. This history has enriched the town's identity, weaving lessons of past mistakes into the cultural fabric and collective memory of its residents. The transformation seen in Brookfield is often highlighted in local museums and historical societies, which include exhibits detailing not only the scandal, but also the town's response and evolution. These exhibitions serve educational purposes, reminding both old residents and new generations of the importance of integrity and the power of community resilience. Furthermore, Brookfield has become a model for other communities dealing with similar disruptions. The town hosts annual conferences on community healing and ethical living, attracting speakers and attendees from across the nation. These events foster discussions on the role of transparency in governance and the importance of supportive community networks. In literature and local media, the Harper case is frequently cited in discussions about the psychological and social dynamics of small towns. Authors and scholars analyze how Brookfield's approach to crisis could serve as a blueprint for others, emphasizing the benefits of confronting rather than concealing internal challenges. As Brookfield continues to grow and evolve, it does so with a keen awareness of its past, ensuring that the lessons learned from the Harper case will guide future decisions and community actions. This conscious reflection on history not only helps to safeguard against repeating past mistakes, but also strengthens the communal bonds, making Brookfield a stronger, more insightful community than ever before. Over time, Brookfield not only recovered, but also thrived, turning its painful history into a cornerstone of community strength and moral guidance. This evolution has inspired many within and beyond its borders, leading to a deepened commitment to civic education and ethical leadership. The local school curriculum now includes case studies on the Harper scandal, focusing on the social, legal, and ethical implications of the events. This educational approach aims to equip students with critical thinking skills and a robust moral framework, helping them navigate complex situations they may face in their own lives. In addition to educational reforms, Brookfield has also enhanced its community support systems, establishing more robust mental health resources. These include counseling centers and hotlines that provide support to individuals facing personal crises, ensuring that residents have access to help before issues escalate. The local government, too, has continued to refine its approach to transparency and public engagement. Regular audits, open council meetings, and active solicitation of community feedback have become standard practices, reinforcing a governance model that prioritizes accountability and participation. Finally, the annual remembrance events have grown to include a festival that celebrates Brookfield's resilience and unity. This festival, marked by art displays, performances, and community service activities, draws people from all walks of life, fostering a sense of shared identity and mutual support. Through these ongoing efforts, Brookfield exemplifies how a community can transform tragedy into a powerful impetus for growth and improvement, ensuring that the lessons of the past continue to enlighten future paths. As Brookfield continues to evolve from its turbulent past, the community's narrative is now focused on innovation and forward-thinking initiatives. This shift has sparked a wave of local entrepreneurship and creativity, with many residents inspired by the town's story of renewal to launch ventures that align with the values of transparency and community service. One such initiative is the Brookfield Community Trust, a nonprofit organization dedicated to fostering sustainable development and ethical business practices. This trust supports local startups and small businesses that demonstrate a commitment to community-oriented objectives, providing them with grants and mentorship. Moreover, Brookfield has also become a hub for cultural and educational tourism. Visitors come to learn about the town's unique history and how it has shaped its present-day community values. This influx has encouraged the development of local businesses, including cafes, bookshops, and boutique hotels, each infused with stories of Brookfield's journey. The community has also embraced technology to enhance civic engagement. A mobile app developed by local tech enthusiasts allows residents to report issues, access municipal services, and participate in forums directly from their smartphones. This tool has increased participation in community decision-making, ensuring that the town's governance remains accessible and responsive to all residents. Lastly, Brookfield's story is now featured in regional leadership conferences, where its approach to crisis management and ethical rebuilding serves as a case study for other communities. This recognition has not only bolstered local pride, but has also cemented Brookfield's reputation as a place of innovation and resilience. Through these varied efforts, Brookfield has demonstrated that a community's response to adversity can create a lasting legacy of strength, innovation, and unity, propelling it towards a future as compelling as its past. Brookfield's transformation is now not only a model for community recovery, but also a platform for launching broader regional initiatives focused on resilience and ethical governance. Building on its local success, the town has spearheaded a regional network of communities, sharing resources, knowledge, and support systems to enhance regional stability and development. This network organizes annual symposiums where community leaders, educators, and policymakers come together to discuss strategies for fostering ethical leadership and preventing the kind of crises that once plagued Brookfield. These events are enriched with workshops, keynote speeches, and panel discussions that draw on diverse experiences and perspectives to inspire new ideas and approaches. Additionally, Brookfield's educational influence has expanded beyond its local schools. The town has partnered with nearby universities to incorporate its history and recovery process into higher education curricula, focusing on courses related to public administration, sociology, and ethics. This collaboration has not only provided university students with real-world case studies, but has also brought fresh academic insights back to Brookfield, creating a dynamic exchange of learning. The arts have also flourished, with the annual festival expanding to include a regional arts competition that attracts artists and audiences from across the state. These events celebrate the themes of rebirth and community, turning Brookfield into a cultural nexus that draws attention to the power of art in healing and communication. As Brookfield's influence grows, so does its commitment to its foundational values. The town remains dedicated to maintaining the principles of transparency, accountability, and community support that guided its recovery. Through these ongoing efforts, Brookfield not only continues to heal and innovate, but also becomes a beacon for other communities striving to overcome their own challenges. Now recognized as a beacon of transformation, Brookfield leverages its past experiences to shape a more interconnected and resilient future. The community has taken a lead in forming inter-city collaborations that focus on sustainable urban development and resilience planning, sharing its insights and learning from others facing similar challenges. These collaborations have resulted in a series of regional conferences on sustainability that bring together experts in urban planning, environmental science, and community development. These events aim to develop strategies that cities can use to enhance their adaptability to social and environmental changes, ensuring long-term sustainability. In an effort to keep the community at the forefront of technological advancements, Brookfield has also introduced initiatives to integrate smart city technologies. This includes the deployment of energy-efficient infrastructure, smart grids, and public Wi-Fi areas to improve quality of life and reduce the community's carbon footprint. Furthermore, Brookfield's local government has established a City Innovation Fund, which encourages residents to propose and pilot new ideas that could benefit the community. This fund has already supported projects ranging from community gardens that teach sustainable agriculture to platforms that facilitate shared transportation options, reducing traffic and pollution. Each step Brookfield takes builds on its storied past, transforming challenges into opportunities. By actively seeking to influence and inspire, Brookfield has not only reshaped its own identity, but also encouraged a ripple effect of positive change across the region.